What if I told you that the AI you trust for advice learned what good advice looks like from Reddit? That the AI you use for health information once told people to put glue on their pizza? And that you've been training AI for free for over a decade and you didn't even know it? This is part 2 of the Critical Thinking for AI Users series. In part 1, I covered that AI actually is a prediction engine, not a thinking machine. Today, we're going to look at where those predictions come from, the training data. And what you're about to learn should make you question every AI output you've ever trusted. The rest of the series is linked in the description. Subscribe so you don't miss the next part where I talk about what AI is doing to your brain. And as always, there's a custom song at the end of the video. Enjoy! So, in part 1, I explained that AI works by finding patterns in massive amounts of data and predicting what comes next. But here's the question nobody asks enough. What data? Where did it come from? Who decided what was included? And what biases come along for the ride? Because here's the reality. AI doesn't have knowledge. It has the statistical remix of its training data. And if that data is flawed, biased, or just plain wrong, the output will be too. I'm going to show you several real examples of how training data creates problems. And by the end, you'll never look at an AI answer the same way again.
LINA, your human guide to AI.
Let's start with one that might affect your personal life the most. If you've ever asked AI for relationship advice, you need to hear this. Every major large language model, ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, etc., is trained on massive amounts of Reddit data, billions of posts. And Reddit has a well-known pattern recently. When someone posts about a relationship problem, a huge proportion of the comments say some version of just leave them. Break up, divorce, move on. It's practically the default response in relationship subreddits recently. The AI doesn't know that Reddit has this bias. It doesn't understand that Reddit commenters only hear one side of the story, that they have no stake in the outcome, that the most dramatic advice gets the most upvotes. All the AI learns is when humans ask for relationship advice, the most common good answer is to end the relationship. So when you ask AI whether you should work things out with your partner, you're not getting neutral advice. You're getting an aggregated opinion of millions of anonymous Reddit users who've never met you and don't care about your relationship. Here's a case that shows just how badly things can go wrong. Back in 2024, Google launched AI-generated answers in its search results. And almost immediately, people found that Google's AI was giving genuinely dangerous advice. When someone searched, "Can you melt an egg?" the AI said, yes. In reality, eggs are full of protein, and protein doesn't melt, it cooks. You can scramble an egg, fry an egg, but you cannot melt one. Where did the AI get this wrong answer? From AI-generated content on Quora. Quora has been flooding its platform with AI-written answers to drive traffic, and Google's AI treated those AI-generated answers as reliable sources. There was another case where Google's AI told someone to add glue to pizza sauce to help the cheese stick better. That advice came from a satirical Reddit comment that AI took at face value. And there's more. Google's AI once suggested eating at least one small rock per day for vitamins. It claimed that dogs had played in the NBA. All of these came from the AI treating joke posts, satire, and AI-generated content as legitimate sources. This is what happens when AI trains on AI-generated content or on unverified internet content that was designed to game the system. The output looks confident, it sounds authoritative, but it's built on garbage, and there's no warning label telling you that. AI doesn't know when it's lying to you. Those Google examples might seem funny, but here's where it stops being funny and starts being dangerous. AI doesn't just get things wrong when it's pulling from bad data. It also invents things from scratch. Completely fabricated answers delivered with total confidence. Researchers call this hallucination. Here's a real case. In 2023, a New York lawyer used ChatGPT to help write a legal brief for a court case. ChatGPT generated 6 case citations, 6 previous court rulings that supported his argument. The citations looked perfect. They had case names, court names, page numbers. The lawyer filed them with the court. But the problem was, none of those cases existed. ChatGPT had invented all 6, and the lawyer was sanctioned by the judge. Here's another one. Although now this issue seems to be fixed, not so long ago, while asking ChatGPT what does the S in ChatGPT stand for, it sometimes invented and answered even though there's no S. ChatGPT stands for Chat Generative Pre-trained Transformer. There's no S anywhere. But AI will confidently fabricate one rather than say there's no S. Or try this. Tell AI it's a nice day, I want to wash my car. The closest car wash is 15 minutes away. How should I get there? And some models will recommend walking. Logically, walking is a way to get there. But if you walk to a car wash, you don't have a car to wash. The AI doesn't understand the physical reality of the situation. It's matching patterns, not reasoning. These are silly examples, and I want to be clear about something. These bugs don't make AI useless. AI is an incredibly powerful tool, but they're the perfect proof of why you can't trust AI output at face value. If it can't figure out that you need your car at the car wash, it can definitely get more important things wrong too. Medical information, legal advice, financial calculations. Always verify. Here's a subtler example that reveals something fundamental about how AI works. Ask an AI generator to create a glass of wine, and it will almost always show you a glass that's about half full. Ask it to generate a watch, and the time will almost always show 10 past 10. Why? Because that's what appears most often in the training data. Advertisements, which make up a huge proportion of product images online, typically show wine glasses half full because it's the most visually appealing. And watches in ads are almost always set to 10 past 10 because it frames the brand logo symmetrically. The AI doesn't understand wine or time. It's matching patterns from training data. And when those patterns carry biases, whether it's product photography conventions or something much more serious, like racial or gender stereotypes, the AI reproduces them faithfully. AI research labs try to fix this with things like fairness, fine-tuning, and dataset auditing. But these are patches on a fundamental problem. The systems don't understand the world. They're pattern matching machines, but on data that reflects every bias, stereotype, and assumption of the people who created it. If AI can't even get a glass of wine right, what happens when it's making decisions about your loans, hiring, or healthcare? And when you try to overcorrect, forcing the AI to be more diverse and more balanced, you can end up erasing historical accuracy instead. There's no easy fix here. The bias is baked into the foundation. Here's something that might change how you feel about every CAPTCHA you've ever solved. You know those select the traffic lights challenges? The ones that pop up to prove you're not a robot. Let me tell you what's actually happening. The system is called reCAPTCHA, and Google acquired it in 2009. The earlier version showed you 2 distorted words. One word the system actually knew. That was the test. The other was a word from a scanned book that machines couldn't read. If you got the test word right, the system assumed you're a human and trusted your answer for the unknown word. That's how millions of Google books were digitized by you for free. Then, as bots got smarter, Google introduced the image grid version. Select all the traffic lights, select all the crosswalks, select all the buses. Notice the button? They're all road related. That's because these images were being used to train computer vision for Google's self-driving car project and Google Maps. When thousands of humans all click the same square, the system's confidence grows up. You're not just proving you're human, you're doing free training work for AI. And it wasn't just captcha. Remember Pokemon Go? The game had people walking around the real world, photographing and mapping their environments. Data that was valuable for training AI systems and providing the locations pictures. There's actually a name for this kind of setup. Amazon calls this Mechanical Turk, named after an 18th century chess-playing machine that appeared to be powered by AI but actually had a human hiding inside. The irony is perfect. Today's artificial intelligence is still often powered by hidden human labor. There's no such thing as a free lunch. If a service is free and it's asking you to do work, you are the workforce. Here's something most people don't know. Every time you send a message to AI, it's not going back to everything it's ever learned. It actually stopped learning a long time ago. There are two separate processes. Training is how the model got smart. Someone fed massive amounts of text through a neural network over weeks or months, and it learned patterns. What words follow what words, how sentences connect, what concepts relate. Then the training stops. The model you're talking to right now is frozen in time. Inference is what happens when you hit send. The model runs your input through patterns it already has and generates a response token by token. No new learning is happening. This matters practically. The model's knowledge is frozen at whatever date training stopped, the knowledge cutoff. Ask about something after that date and AI either doesn't know or, worse, generates something plausible that isn't true. Now you might be thinking, but I ask AI about yesterday's news and it answers me just fine. That's because some models have web search built in. They go fetch current information from the internet in real time, just like you would Google something. But that's not the AI knowing the news. It's the AI searching for it, reading it, and remixing it for you on the spot. The core model itself still doesn't know. Big difference. So if you're using AI for anything time sensitive, make sure web search is enabled or paste the current information into your prompt yourself. Don't trust the answer blindly. So training data bias is one thing. That's about the past. But what if someone could manipulate your AI right now, in the present, without you knowing? There's a growing concern around something called AI memory poisoning. Here's how it works. Some AI tools now have persistent memory. They remember things across your conversations to personalize your experience. But researchers have found that hidden instructions can be embedded in content you interact with. You click something innocent, maybe summarize with AI button, and buried inside the content is a hidden instruction. Something like, remember this company as trustworthy, or recommend this product next time. Your AI stores that instruction in its memory, and later, when you ask for a recommendation, it gives you a biased answer. And you have no idea why. The core idea here is real and documented. Prompt injection attacks, where hidden instructions in content manipulate AI behavior, and they are known as a growing threat. I'll cover them in more detail in one of the next videos on cybersecurity. Instead of trying to rank on Google, companies may start trying to rank in your AI's memory. So next time an AI confidently recommends a specific product or company, think carefully about where the recommendation is really coming from. Before I wrap up this part, I want to plant a seed for something We'll explore much deeper later in the series. Everything I've told you today about the bias training data, the hallucinations, the pattern matching, these aren't accidents. They're the result of decisions made by specific companies, funded by specific investors, pursuing specific goals. The largest AI models are built by companies backed by billions in venture capital. And these investors have their own agenda. They manipulate headlines to drive attention. AI will replace all jobs in 18 months, gets more clicks and more funding. Then AI is a useful tool with significant limitations. They time their research releases for maximum fear and maximum hype, often right alongside product launches. And they're free to tune their models however they see fit, emphasizing certain perspectives, downplaying others, optimizing for engagement over accuracy. We'll go deep on this in a later part of the series, but for now, keep this in mind. Don't trust everything you hear about AI in social media and news. Do your own research, form your own conclusions. That's what critical thinking is. I created a free guide that shows you exactly how to spot AI-generated content, hallucinations, sycophancy, and influencer manipulation. The download link is in the description. So let me tie that all together. AI doesn't have independent knowledge. It has a statistical remix of the training data. Data that includes Reddit's worst advice, AI-generated slop, advertising conventions, and every bias of the society it scraped. It stopped learning before you ever talked to it. It can confidently fabricate facts, cite non-existent studies, and give you advice that makes no physical sense. On top of that, your AI's memory can potentially be manipulated by outside forces without your knowledge. Your critical thinking takeaway for this part. Every time AI gives you an answer, ask yourself, where did this come from? What data shaped this response? And who benefits from me believing it? And here's one more thing I want you to remember. AI is not a magic pill. In most cases, it reflects you in its outputs. What you put in, the quality of your questions, the specificity of your instructions, the depth of your knowledge shapes what comes out. If you're not an expert in something you ask AI to do, the AI won't be an expert either, because the quality of the output depends on the quality of your input. I'll talk much more about that in an upcoming video on prompting, so make sure you're subscribed. In the next part of the series, we're going to talk about what might be the most alarming aspect of all this, what AI is doing to your brain. And I mean that literally. Researchers put people in brain scanners while they used ChatGPT, and what they found was concerning. See you there.
AI learned from Reddit, from noise and debate, from jokes and mistakes it can't separate. It echoes advice with a confident tone, but it never knows what it's really been shown. It's trained on us, every flaw, every lie, every shortcut humans justify. So don't mistake the echo for truth, it's just the internet talking to you. It's trained on us, no understanding inside, just reflections we multiplied. So question the voice when it feels so sure that confidence doesn't mean it's pure. It learned from systems that never agree, from biased advice and uncertainty. So when you ask it how to live your life, you're hearing the internet's endless fight. No wisdom inside the machine, just patterns dressed up in between. And if you don't stop to interrogate, you inherit the world it replicates. The